A person believes she's seen all the way to the bottom of the well of human stupidity, and a reminder that that well apparently has no bottom is sometimes useful. Stephen King, Tommy Knockers. The cave monster movie. Welcome to Loathsome Things, a horror movie podcast, a podcast where we discuss sometimes really good movies and sometimes total pieces of shit. My name is John, and with me as always is my co-host Josh. Josh, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. Did you know that Stephen King reviewed the Boogens and called it a wildly energetic monster movie?
I mean, he's even wrong about that, and that was him trying to be nice.
Yeah, Stephen King.
If he had just said, it's a monster movie, he would have been right.
Yeah.
100% correct.
But yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I would be doing better if I hadn't seen this fucking movie. Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
Yes, entirely fuck this movie.
Yeah. By the way, what movie are we talking about, Josh?
Oh, oops, I think I already said it. It's The Boogens by James L. Conway. It's 1981. It is our, get this, 69th movie review.
Jesus Christ. We really we blew that number, didn't we?
This one got the closest to actually doing 69 of any of the movies we've seen, so, we got there. I guess Donnie South and the armpit licking was pretty close, too.
Our final rating might end up being a 0.69.
Yeah, this one is not going to be breaching the 6.9 Loathsome Things, I don't believe.
Yeah, it's gonna be something talking about this one. Woo!
Yeah. So if you can't tell it's bad, it's James L. Conway's, horror movie?
Jesus Christ. Here's the deal with this. Okay. When I was a Ute, as I briefly mentioned on the last episode, this was one of those movies like back in 81 where they, the trailer would come on and, all trailers had the serious guy voice. And, like there was a bunch of silly horror movies that were coming out in the early 80s and there was, some cool ones. But I specifically remember this one because it was hilarious to hear the guy go, "The Boogens." And I always thought, that movie's got to be. Even then, I was like, this movie's got to be terrible. And through the years, I was just like, every once in a while, I'd remember that stupid movie title and think, I want to watch that movie one day. And then a coworker was pushing it on me pretty hard, and I was like, that movie sounds so bad. I bet that would be fun to cover. And it might be fun to cover, but it's fucking terrible. It is so bad. Ugh.
It's bad. Did you read the bit of trivia about why the name is The Boogens?
Yeah, because of The Boogeyman by Uli Lulu.
Uli Lamel got the title and they were like, oh shit, well we can't use that name. I guess we're gonna have to go back in, dub the word The Boogens into the dialogue somewhere. And I think that kind of ruined their whole thing because a big part of this movie is you think that there's this old guy that might be the killer or something, and then they had to retitle the movie, and so it very obviously didn't feel that way, and also the movie's just real bad.
Oh God. Another weird parallel, in The Boogeyman, Uli Lommel marries, well, he doesn't marry it in the movie, but the leading lady from that movie he marries eventually. James Conway was married to Rebecca Balding until she died last year. Recipe, she's awesome, but not in this movie. She's not. But no, she was in she was in a movie called Kiss My Grits, and she did a lot of TV. Soap. That's how I know her. Soap, Charmed, Beverly Hills 90210.
The Silent Scream.
Yeah, yes. Conway himself, he did a lot of TV episodes of Supernatural, Charmed, pretty much every Star Trek television property.
Okay, yeah, I gotta break this down. So for our Star Trek listeners out there, which I know there's at least one.
Yeah.
So this guy directed 3 episodes of The Next Generation, including the one where Riker is in an insane asylum and thinks that maybe the whole thing with the Enterprise was part of his delusion.
Nice.
4 episodes of Voyager, including the one where Q wants to commit suicide and Janeway is like his lawyer for that. 7 episodes of Deep Space Nine and 5 episodes of Enterprise, including the 2-part premiere of Enterprise, the famously worst Star Trek thing ever to happen. He also directed an episode of The Orville, and he directed Star Trek Borg, the video game.
Man, I mean, this movie, it's a Hollywood movie, and they were able to get some people that were actually in things, like John Crawford, who'd been around forever, disaster movie veteran, Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno, but then also he was in Falcon Crest and Hardcastle and McCormick.
I love the TV. Like, every time we get one of these movies where they have these actors that were in every TV show, I'm just like, oh yeah, I didn't know that was a TV show. Now I get a reference that another TV show made.
It's so weird. John Lormer, who plays the old man, the old creep, he was in Creep Show and The Twilight Zone, Magnum P.I., Harper Valley PTA, and Lou Grant, among many others.
And then the other minor dude was, like, in every single Western movie in the 1950s.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Jeff Harlan was in Parks and Rec. That was one of the guys with the, most recent credits, really.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, I don't remember who that character is.
Yeah, I wish he had actually died when they were making this movie, because he sucks.
His character is the worst. I can't tell if the idea is that we're supposed to be, like, wanting him to die, or if the idea is that he's so charming. Like, I really don't know where the humor of this movie is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's so bad. The characters are so... It's just... The biggest issue with this movie, and we'll get into it, is that it's dull. It's just boring as shit.
Yeah. That is definitely the biggest issue. Even above the weird sexism, and it's one of those 80s movies where there's a dog and there's a lot of humor centered around the way the dog acts. It's not good. It's not good. Another note here is Anne-Marie Martin, who plays Jessica. She was a uncredited role of Darcy in Halloween 2.
Oh, yeah.
And she has a single writer credit. She co-wrote the screenplay for the 1996 Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt tornado thriller Twister with Michael Crichton. What the fuck? Where do you be like, oh yeah, and also I'm gonna write this fucking kind of awesome movie?
So weird. Yeah, she was also in an episode of The Young Ones, or I just thought that was really strange. Like, you were on a cult British sitcom? Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Real weird credits in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be able to breeze through the IMDb research, and then at a certain point I was like, you know what? Nope, I just can't go into all of this. There's too many rabbit holes.
I think Anne-Marie Martin is Canadian, right? Because she says oat or some, one of those type deals. Whatever. Yeah. That doesn't really matter. But I went ahead and said it anyway.
Nice. During the filming, James was like, you know what? I want to see that hot lady that I will marry be all naked, so I'm going to see if we can get her to be naked. And she was like, yeah, I'll be naked in this scene, and yeah, I'll be naked in this scene, and yeah, I'll be naked in this sex scene. And then apparently she met Fred McCarran and was like, you know what? I'd rather not be naked in this sex scene.
That's fantastic.
And so, yeah, that's this movie.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Goodbye. Oh, right. The next part. Anything else we need to say before we move along, John?
I don't think so. No, I don't have anything.
All right. We start off where it's a bunch of the Silver City Gazette headline newspapers. Real bad. They don't do good newspaper layout at all.
No.
But we hear about the silver mine cave-ins, the dozens trapped and abandoned for dead in the silver mine, and the reports of attacks inside the silver mine.
Dun, dun.
And then now, in the present of 1981, there's some guy named Mark and some guy named Roger, and they are working with two other guys to reopen a mine. Mark is a solid worker, and Roger will not stop talking about sex, the number of days it's been since he's had sex, how looking forward he is to sex some more, coming, and all of the sex, and how the human body and the sex in 12 days or 11 days, it's kind of hard to tell. It kind of made it sound like he had sex the day after he left, but I don't know, it's weird. Also, a lot of mining jokes are made, like, oh, they get to do that while we get the shaft. Great.
By the way, I feel really bad for Mark, because in those 11 or 12 days, apparently he didn't know how to masturbate, so he wasn't even able to do that.
It was 1981. People hadn't invented masturbating yet.
There was no crank yanking back then.
Oh, man.
Jesus Christ.
He just won't stop talking about it. I mean, he's an OSHA violation all on his own. They're knocking on beams. It's the mine that, all the people, the cave-in and the people trapped, and they're gonna reopen it, so they're knocking on timbers to see if the structural integrity is all good, and then they, blow up some stuff with dynamite real good, and then as explosions are happening, we zoom to, like, the horizon or whatever, and there's an old, worried man, listening to dramatic music while he looks on from the distance. Then we see Jessica is coming to town for Roger to have sex with, and she's bringing Trish, a person for Mark to have sex with, and they are in a Volkswagen, and they have a dog named Tiger. Meanwhile, some random woman runs her station wagon off the road to avoid hitting a deer. She has a "I brake for animals" bumper sticker on her station wagon, which, now that her station wagon is stuck in an icy ditch, the camera just focuses on that because of the movie having a sense of humor, you see. Yeah. Then she hoofs it to the house that Mark and Roger bought and are going to live in together.
Hoofs it.
And have sex with women in. And she's going there to warm it up for them by turning the house on. It's set in the Colorado snow, but then instead of warming up the house, she is dragged down into the basement, screaming to her death. And then back to Jessica and Trish, we find that they can't read a map. Oh man, why aren't these roads color-coded like they are on the map? Why wouldn't the blue road on the map be colored blue on the actual road?
If only we brought a man to help us get there.
Oh no! And then the dog runs away, and we're introduced to the fact that everyone hates Tiger, so they run off into the woods after the dog, give up on looking for the dog, come back, and now the dog is standing on top of the car, and it's like, Tiger!
That fucking dog.
Oh, man. Back at the mine, they clear out an old cave-in and find a sparkly pool with something moving around in the water that none of them notice. They also find the skeletons of the trapped miners.
Yeah, that's fucking so great.
Yeah.
Jessica and Trish finally arrive in town. Great. They're like jabbering away, chit-chatting as they drive through the town. Trish is like, "Oh, I'm sure the people here are really nice." And she says, "Hey, old lady walking down the sidewalk, how are you?" And the lady gives her the stink eye, and then they laugh.
They laugh and they laugh.
They're not nice at all. Oh, God. And then they get to the house. Jess immediately claims the bouncy brass bed because she's going to be fucking Roger on that. And
12 days.
Trish also apparently unable to masturbate. Trish decides to run a bath, and then she finds out that there's no hot water, so she needs to go down to the basement. She's going to find the boiler. We get the 2-hour-long, the old dark basement scene trope with a flashlight and creaking noises, and then, oh my God, a cardboard box that's empty and taped closed falls over, and behind the cardboard box is the dog who apparently was built a wall of cardboard boxes, walled himself in just so he could trick Trisha. You little scamp. Yeah. And they go back upstairs, and then this is really scary. You actually hear some Boogenses going on in the background. And, oh man. Back at the mine, one of the mine dudes tells Roger that he needs to go to Denver because they need some updated maps. Man, they really need the internet. Wow. He's frustrated because he really wants to bang. 12 days. And
12 days.
The guy's like, hey, you're going to leave at like 3 a.m. That should be plenty of time to fuck your girlfriend on a squeaky brass bed. And, yeah, which leaves him plenty of time. So he's like, gets the keys to the truck. They take off. Oh, guess who's watching? The oldest man in the world is still just standing outside all winter at the entrance to the mine, apparently, just staring at people. It's fucking terrible.
It's cold as fuck outside. You could see, like, he's all the way bundled, but he no hat. Yeah. Just bald head to the sun. Hasn't died yet. He's fine. It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Back at the cabin, Roger and Jessica are basically wrestling on the bed. That's their foreplay, apparently. Trish gets out of the bath. Mark sees her ass because, she my ass accidentally fell out of the back of my towel. And then there's more shenanigans and tomfoolery. Mark heads to the kitchen, has a Coors. Meanwhile, back in the fuck den, Tiger gets kicked out, dropped outside the door. And then Trish wants She wants Mark to investigate the basement. Great. Meanwhile, Mark lectures Tiger about being a nuisance or going away or whatever because he wants to, bust a move on Trish. She joins him, grabs a Coors. They're drinking some beers together. They make terrible jokes. They have a very forgettable conversation. They flirt a little bit, and then there's a knock on the door. The cops have arrived. They're looking for Martha, who was the lady that got Boogens earlier in the movie. And then the cop leaves because they don't know anything. And they're all like, what lady? And then...
Yep.
Which sounds a little suspicious, actually. Back at the mine, the old dude is still fucking hanging around, snooping on the miner that's there working. The gang goes out to eat because they're tired. They don't have any food. And so they go out to eat. In the meantime, while they're gone, Tiger decides to pull a shoe out of the closet and eat it on the fuck bed. Then he hears a noise in the basement, and we get the Boogens cam. And, great, whatever. Tiger opens the basement door because that's what he does. He just opens doors all over the place.
He's a velociraptor.
Yeah, barks like a little bitch. And then the Boogen, I guess it would just be, if it's just one, I guess it's just a Boogen.
I mean, technically the Boogens is a sensation that one feels.
Ah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing, Boogens, makes its move, and back to the restaurant where they're done with dinner, and now they're going to the pool hall. But first, they have to have a really stupid snowball fight and tell more bad jokes. Then they go to the pool hall because they want to play pool with the old men. And then Roger grabs the keys and takes off. Hey guys, I'm going to go back to the house. I need to get some sleep. So he hops in the truck and drives away. Jessica basically is like a pool shark and like takes the old men for all they have, which is, I'm sure, nothing. Meanwhile, Mark and Trisha are chatting away. Oh, it's riveting. Roger gets to the cabin to go get some sleep. He finds trash spilled all over the kitchen. He's calling for Tiger, can't find him, and then he kind of just goes, fuck Tiger, I don't care.
Fuck that dog.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep. And then he goes to sleep, and then the booger starts creeping. He's cold creeping like a phantom. Sorry. Trish and Mark do a little pre-fuck while my brain dies.
Yes.
And then Trish, Trish and Mark leave, and Jess sticks around to just continue to annihilate the old men at pool who are like, "Oh, we'll give you a ride home later. It's fine." Yeah. That what could go wrong there? Roger can't sleep. I mean, he's too excited, and there's tomfoolery going on. So, because he just decides he's going to go. You know what? Fuck it. I'm grabbing the keys. I'm out of here. So he has a beer.
Yeah, 1981.
Grabs a roadie, and then he gets under truck semi-boogensed, and kind of like almost escapes, but then gets fully throat slashed boogensed to death.
Yeah. I love that. Part of the tension of this movie is you think that the old man is the boogeyman. That was the idea when they were filming it. But it's very quickly, obviously, not a boogeyman situation. So, like, one of the central elements of tension in this movie is undermined from the get-go. And it just does nothing.
Even dumb people went to this movie knowing it was a monster movie. So the old man is completely useless.
Yeah.
Also, I'd just like to argue this movie should have been a PG movie, because the target market for this movie is young people, like maybe even G. Take all the sex out, no blood, and just because it's for children. It's the kind of movie that maybe a child would be scared of, but no one else. It's terrible.
But all of the sex, John, all of that one tit, the butt that you could, like, wouldn't stop a quarter on the way down.
Jesus Christ, I hate this movie.
The snowball fight that you referenced was because Mark, like, they made reference to making a cake, and he was like, "Oh, you remembered?" She was like, "Remembered what?" And he was like, "It's the anniversary of your first orgasm." And they're like, "Mark," and they start throwing snowballs at him. What the fuck?
Oh, Mark, you cad.
He's just disgusting, and they think it's hilarious, kind of.
Yeah, they think he's fucking hilarious, which he's not at all.
Mark is dead. He's under the SUV.
Roger.
Jessica is... Roger, yes. Sorry, Roger's dead. Jessica is back at the bar. The men realized they were in trouble when she knew how to rack the billiard balls. They were like, "Uh-oh, we're in trouble. She knows how to put the balls in the wrong order."
Uh-oh, she's putting the chalk on the correct end of the stick.
So yeah, Mark and Trish get back to the house. They don't realize that Roger's dead, and they start doing sex business. There's this whole thing where it looks like the Boogens is sneaking up on them, but then it turns out it's Tiger, who hasn't been eaten yet. The next morning, there are 3 crosses outside the mine, and a plank with the word death painted on it, nailed over the mine shaft.
Sorry. Would you like to see mine shaft?
Yes.
Sorry.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm so fucking stupid.
His famous book, Mine Shaft.
Wee!
At the mine some more, we see the old man stealing a bunch of dynamite, which I guess is cool. He's basically filling up a pauper's bag with it. Mark points out that if the miners had died of gas or starvation, they'd find individual skeletons, and instead what they found is one huge pile of mixed up bones, to which everyone goes, "Huh."
Wow, a lot of bones. Oh, it must be where all those trapped miners died. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But then again, I don't even really care myself. It's like, they have no reaction to a giant pile of human remains. It's like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like just femurs and skulls, like, mixed together, like
femurs and skulls aplenty.
Yeah, that's normal. That's how you often find a pile of the dead in a mine.
Fucking, oh my god. Why are they even opening the mine? Like, what?
I mean, there might be some more silver. There's a jump scare. This movie features a jump scare where a guy is looking in the pool and the other guy's like, "Hey, I need more envelopes." Okay. Just as people are starting to think to themselves, hey, where's Roger? We see the old man skulking around the mine some more. At the Gazette, Trish... Alright, there's this whole thing where Trish is gonna work for a magazine, but she's going to the Gazette newspaper to find information about the mine. The lady at the Gazette newspaper is like, oh yeah, I used to work for that magazine. It's all very confusing and pointless. But while she's there, she finds evidence that a man caused the cave-in after going crazy. Everyone starts to realize that Roger is missing, but not really caring a whole bunch. They just, like, put the pieces together. Like, Jessica finds his truck, and then is like, I'm worried about Roger. Goodbye, I'm gonna take a shower. And at the mine, Mark finds out because Jessica calls Trish. Trish goes to the mine, asks him about it, and he was like, yeah, no, we called Denver. Denver hasn't seen him. I wonder what's going on. Oh, well, at the house... At the house, Jessica is taking a shower and singing She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain aggressively. Like...
Oh my god.
It's to the point that Tiger is barking... And she's like, I'm just singing a song, Tiger, stop it! And then she starts singing it even louder. Meanwhile, a pair of sharp tentacles melt the air conditioning grate, grab Tiger, suck Tiger into death, leaving little poofs of poodle fur stuck to the bits of the grate. And then Jessica's like, well, now that's weird. And she comes out in a towel and also gets sucked down the grate where it cuts up her arm. She's wearing nothing but a towel, and yet somehow, even while being attacked all the way to death, she manages to keep her ass hidden in a towel, which is something that Trish could not manage.
Yes, that's... I thought the exact same thing. I was like, how the hell did she get sucked through a sharp grating hole and mangled to death in the basement, and she's still wearing her fucking towel? Like, I can't even walk from, like, the bathroom to the bedroom without the towel falling off.
I know. She dies while maintaining her modesty. Never once do we catch a whiff of ass, or tit, or vag. Great job. Good job, Jessica. You nailed it.
Jesus Christ. So we go back to the fakest looking cave ever. Like, man, it's so weak. Crawford, he decides that he's gonna crawl into the cave pond where the water must be just like barely above freezing. He's just like, there's a scene where they're all sweating in the cave, which I thought was great. But anyways, he hits the cave pond because he just happens to see something. And that something turns out to be Roger, who apparently was melted, waxed in the face to death. On at least half of his face. And then the other half of his face has streaks of blood on it, even though the guy just flipped him over being face down in water. Yep. But somehow he's managed to have dried streaks of blood on his face. It's so, god damn it, this movie. Suddenly out of nowhere, the old fucking codger arrives and starts chastising the miners and decides that he's going to just blow the thing up right now with the dynamite. Like, right now. You know, no, don't anybody get out or anything. I'm just going to blow the whole fucking thing up. Idiot. Mark arrives out of nowhere, and then the codger gives them this sob story about caves, and there's just tunnels that run under the whole town, and they go all over the place, and you know, Mark realizes, oh, there's a tunnel in the basement of my house, and then he runs off, takes off, because he's really worried now. The miners are, you know, talking with Codger, and the Codger tells him that his dad is the guy that went crazy and went to an asylum because he saw weird Boogens shit. It's so stupid. And how his whole life is now, he must stop the boogeroni. But before he can act, Jack gets boogened back at the house. I don't even remember how. It doesn't even matter. Back at the cave again, the codger says, Boogens. No, that's more like, Boogens. For no reason, just to get that word in there. And then dynamites the pond and gets booged for his trouble. Trish returns to the house. Yeah, and that's it. That's the end of the old man. There's no drama around him. There's no... He's just some fucking asshole who hangs around all the time and threatens to dynamite everybody.
Yeah, that whole thing just is there to explain why he was creeping around. Like earlier there was a scene where he was creeping around their house and it was supposed to imply like maybe he's gonna kill someone, but no, actually he was just checking on the tunnels.
Like the guy that wrote the movie, why put him in there at all? Like, I guess the idea was he wanted to have some sort of exposition. Nobody wants exposition. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah, he was supposed to be a boogie herring, but he wasn't.
Well, how about these people just show up and there's some fucking monster that lives in the mines? I don't care where it comes from. Yeah. They don't, like, in The Descent, they don't spend 5 hours telling you about how the creatures got into the cave and all this shit. I mean, they like, touch on it for like a quarter of a second. They're just like, well, they're probably mutants. And then they just move on with the rest of the fucking movie. God damn it.
Great movie. 2 great movies, actually.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, The Descent did this way better.
Yeah, but let's talk about this one, John. Fuck me. Trish returns to the house, finds the shower running, Jessica is gone, and another mess in the kitchen. The mess in the kitchen is like the Boogens bellwether, apparently.
Yeah.
I don't... The Boogens canary in the coal mine. Whoa.
Oh, yes!
Tied it together!
October sky!
Mark and the cops rush to the house. They meet up on an icy road. Trish takes like 7.5, maybe 8 hours to traipse around the fucking basement with a pitchfork and a flashlight.
Yeah.
She finally finds Jessica's body, still wearing her towel.
That thing was just secured. She's got like nautical rope tying skills on towel fold.
She stitched it into her flesh. Trish decides to leave because, go get help or whatever, and then it's another terrible basement trope where there's the gaps in the steps, and she gets tentacle booged in the step gap. Great.
Yeah.
But then the cop arrives at their rescue and pulls out his .38 special and shoots the boog many times. And then the boog's dead, and then we kind of get the rest of the movie just kind of... Oh, I'm sorry. Then the cop gets booged in the face. Psych! And Mark gets the pitchfork and pitchforks the thing, and we finally see its face. It looks like that little creature in the Hieronymus Bosch painting with the, frog mouth with teeth in it.
Yeah. And it has like Hobby Lobby glue-on jewel eyeballs.
It's terrible. It's a terrible monster. It's so bad. Oh, God. And then suddenly a fuel leak breaks out in there, in the basement, and, catches the heater or whatever, the furnace. So the whole place catches on fire, which apparently the actual place that they shot that scene caught on fire and burned to the ground in 10 minutes.
Oh, shit.
I didn't see that. The Boogens comes back, because of course he does, or whatever it is. And then Trish and Mark hit the caves. They go through the basement and they hit the caves.
Yeah, because instead of escaping upward and out of the house, they escaped into the mines.
Into the mines, which are pretty much boarded up. So does that mean that every time the Boogens comes and goes through the mine hole in the basement, he boards and unboards the fucking hole? It makes no sense. God damn it. The Boogens comes back, of course, because you can't keep a good Boogens down. I'm an idiot. Okay. So, the house explodes. I mean, like a huge bomb. And then, just to bring it all home, we see a cardboard house collapse on fire. Then the gang climbs over some styrofoam rocks, and they get bonus boogened, and then they run out into the day or whatever. No, they don't. First, they run into the dead but not actually dead miner. He's back, and then he says there's more of them, and they decide they're going to dynamite the caves. And then I guess whatever. I think the guy
gets
dies.
Boogens too.
Yeah, he gets a quick. Yeah, that's right. He gets quickly Boogens. Then we get like a handy cam shot, the Booga Vision, chasing them in like slow motion. I mean, they're just like, it's like they're going for a stroll in the park, you know. Like, and the thing is supposed to be all like, you know, intense with them running, but then the camera goes to them and they're like, yeah. So I guess I don't know. You know, I'll probably go to Denver pretty soon, I guess. And, you know, oh, nice, still back there, we're good. And, you know, I guess, so they, 3.5 hours later, they make it to the mouth of the mine, and then they blast it closed with dynamite, and apparently that did it. And then Trish does, I don't know, she says, she tries to act, she's terrible. And then they limp away, presumably for more fucking. And then we get one more burning house shot for good measure. And then over the burning house, we get the credits. And movie over. Thank God.
Oh, wow. Thank God, yeah.
That movie sucked.
Yeah. It's so bad. Do you know, so you know how you're talking about, like, oh, it turns out that the Boogen still isn't dead because it comes after him again? It's because there's supposed to be a bunch of them.
Oh, that's right. They only had one suit.
They only had the one, but at no point does the movie ever actually make it feel like there is more than one of them. It just feels like there's one Boogens, and it has variable speed settings.
Like, they don't really get into it because they didn't want to go over their runtime, but in the original Boogens script, he really gets into the Boogens culture, and the Boogens have this kind of rule that it's not fair to attack people anything more than one Boogens at a time. So they'll send one Boogens out from the horde, and that's worked for them for a long time. Plus, they're a little excited because the mine hasn't been opened, and so that means they can't get out, except they can through the boarded up entrance, which they unboard and board back up whenever they need to pass into the basement. But they can't get out of the basement and go through the rest of the house because no reason. And the rest of the town is connected by a network of tunnels that are filled with fucking Boogens, apparently. But everything's fine because they closed that one entrance and blew up their house.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. It's good. Yeah. Also, the Boogens eat people, like, to the point of, like, sucking on the bones until they're just white, sun-bleached bones. And,
yeah, right.
Yet, when they kill people, they just kind of slash their face, drag them back to the cave, sometimes. Other times, just leave them where they killed them, basically. And then, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
Don't eat them.
What a great movie. What a shitty movie. That movie fucking sucks. It sucks in every way. It's terrible.
Yeah. How much would you say it sucks on a scale of 0 to 5 loathsome sucks?
0.75 sucks.
Oh, shit. You went for it.
I fucking hated this movie. It wasn't even fun bad like the one that I could never remember the name for.
Yeah, fun bad.
Yeah, the time travel-y stupid Lovecraft one.
Oh, Intersect.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, that movie. Oh, God.
Yeah.
But at least that movie was hilariously bad. This movie's just terrible.
Yeah, it's maybe the timing's not off here, but, like, they were going for it to be a horror comedy, but it's like, there's no situational element to the comedy. It's just people saying things that they think are funny. So it's like, what if Friends, but all Chandler stuff?
The two best actors in the entire movie are the two miners.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever those guys talk, they almost kind of sound like real people. But, but they're, they don't even really need to be in the movie, to be honest. I mean, they could have just had these guys come in and, they're just a team that are hired to reopen the mine. They don't need these two fucking old dudes. But they don't need. I mean, they didn't need to make this fucking movie, to be honest. I mean, I hated it.
Yeah,
I fucking hated it. What was your rating?
Oh, I gave it a 1.4.
It doubled mine almost.
I know. It's still generous. Like I had it at a 1.5, but then I looked at the other movies that I've given a 1.5 to, and I was like, nope, this movie is worse than those. Yeah.
You know what's funny? I mean, again, like when I watched the first however long it was up until the point where the first lady when Martha gets boogensed, but when I watched it up to that point, I was like, yeah, this is terrible, but it's okay. It's kind of cool. I like the winter setting and blah, blah, blah. But man, it can't do anything with anything. Like, why would you go all the way to Colorado and shoot this shitty movie when you could just make it in your backyard with like white paper for snow? I mean, it's not like any of it was believable anyway. Who fucking cares? Instead, you make your actors go hang out outside for hours in 20 below weather.
So...
there was that piece of trivia that said that the final day of shooting lasted 20 hours.
Oh my god, for this.
God, that's fucking horrible. They probably made like $5,000 each.
Oh, could you imagine, like, putting that level of effort and work in and then going to see the end result and it's this movie?
God, even headphones didn't help this movie. It just sucked.
Yeah.
I mean, they hired a fucking composer to make the soundtrack. Like, you're hearing an actual orchestra play the soundtrack.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, I can't wait to buy that one.
The monster noise was done by James Conway's son, who recorded a dog and cat fighting and then played it in reverse.
Yeah, don't stop the dog and cat from fighting.
Yeah,
just record them for your dad's bucket of shit movie.
Oh, yeah. Fuck this movie entirely. You don't need to watch it. It's bad.
It's really, really bad.
I mean, if you're a sexist and 8th grader, you'll probably find the humor in this much to your liking.
Jesus God. What was your rating? 1.4?
1.4.
1.4, okay, so...
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's a 2.15 out of
10. 2.15, yeah.
Wow.
It's, I mean, that's borderline watchable, which I feel like this movie is. Like, it's not worth watching, but if you need to have something on that you absolutely do not feel the need to pay attention to, this is a good choice for you.
Yeah, I mean, way back in the first episode I had mentioned that, even terrible movies, like horror movies, I like to watch. And I did like to watch this. I mean, It wasn't, it's not like Cannibal Holocaust or whatever, where they're killing animals and actually, like that. That's just awful, and I won't watch that movie because fuck that movie.
Yeah.
But I'll go ahead and watch some Ruse get killed apparently. But this movie, it's a little bit fun, it's fine, whatever. But I mean, make no bones about it. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, this movie is perfectly fine to have on and have watched it once, doing what we do with movies.
Analysis.
Yeah. Watching it multiple times and taking careful notes so that you can summarize the film's events. That's not what this movie is good for.
No, and it's certainly not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And I mean, this movie is like super regressive. Like, this would have made a great monster movie like 20 years before it came out. It should, like, this movie came out a year before John Carpenter's The Thing, just to give you like a frame of reference of where movies were at the time. Like, they could have, like, the monster looked like shit. The sets would have been great for an episode of The Twilight Zone. This movie, like, obviously, it would have been way better in black and white, even. Like, it's just garbage. It's hot garbage.
Yeah, this is like the production values for this movie are like season 1 Doctor Who level.
Oh, yes.
Like that fucking Mayan episode, the first one, that is just, oh
Yeah.
my god. It's like that, basically. Well, it's better than that, I guess, but
Yeah.
but not much.
Not enough to make it count, because at least then you're like, ooh, Doctor Who, neat.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
This is so boring, but at least I'm watching Doctor Who.
I mean, like, this guy, he didn't go for any of the cool stuff that would have made this movie okay, like having, like, I mean, the kind of, not necessarily cool, but I mean, the kind of stuff that would make it at least slightly entertaining, like excessive gore, or, you know, the titathon, or whatever, like the kinds of things they put in these movies, but no, they give you, like, a butt and a side boob, and, like, a little bit of fake paint red blood, and then the worst monster ever that you don't even see until the end. Like, if you're gonna make a monster that looks that bad, just show it.
Yeah.
Just have it like ordering beers and stuff. Because, I mean, it's just, it's not like you're tricking anyone into thinking it looks cool by just showing it for a second.
This is not a case of the monster looks cool the less time it is on the screen. This one, you didn't get there. This is like, it's like a weird turtle guy. It's not good.
With turtles.
Yeah, it's got spiky turtles, and it'll bite your face and look like a glove while it's doing it.
They could have flashed like a single frame of this thing, like a subliminal Boogens message, and it would still be too much time on screen.
Yeah, you'd be like, wow, I feel like this movie looks like shit and I want to smoke a cigarette?
You'd be like, wow, I suddenly hate turtles. I never had a emotional reaction to turtles before.
Oh, fuck this movie. John, what else have you been doing for good instead of this watching? Talking.
Yeah. Hey.
Talking.
I saw a couple things. I saw this movie on Shudder called Mastema, which, well, I didn't even finish it, to be honest, because it was fucking terrible. So I won't talk about that. I saw the last Insidious movie, The Red Door, which was fucking terrible, and it was terrible. And then I watched VHS 85, which I give thumbs up to VHS 85. That was a blast.
Nice.
That's it. I mean, I listen to a bunch of horror books, and I'm absorbing a lot of other horror media that I won't get into, but just because it's boring. But yeah, I'm still waiting for my fucking story to come out. But it is coming out. They just haven't published it yet. But I've already like read the proofs, and they've got the cover out and everything. It's going to press as I speak.
Nice.
But how about you with your horrification?
Not very much, but not horror, but I did watch Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and it is fucking amazing.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, I need to watch that.
Yeah. Did you like the first one?
I liked it a lot.
This one might actually be better. Like, it is, like, the visuals are just over the top amazing. Like,
really?
It's artistic. It's phenomenal. Yeah, it's just really great. If you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth a watch. Get it on your biggest, highest definition TV you can possibly watch it on.
Oh, I think I'm gonna watch that tonight. That sounds good.
It's fucking awesome. And then I've been watching a show on HBO. I'll just call it HBO. It's called Scavenger's Reign. It's kind of like a mix between Heavy Metal Magazine and Studio Ghibli. It's a animated science fiction body horror.
That show.
Yeah, it's so good.
Damn, you had a much better horror week than I did.
Yes, it is so good. There's this one scene where, like, this guy, like, recently escaped a horrific pod person death, and then now he feels real good. He's like, yeah, I feel real good. Oh, I love this place. and they're like trying to travel to the place where their ship landed, and the person he's with like goes to sleep, and then he's just like working through the night, and she wakes up the next day and she's like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I feel good. I'm making a shelter for us in that cave. And she's like, shelter in the cave? No, we're going to the ship. And he's like, but what if we stayed here? And he's just like gathering stuff and putting it in this weird cave. And she's like, what are you doing? You're acting weird. And he's like, no, I like it. It feels good. And then she notices that there's like a flap of skin on his chest. And she's like, what that? What's that? And he's like, oh. And then he like pulls the flap of skin on his chest open, and you can see straight to his heart and see that there's like this horrible little alien creature that's fakely squishing his heart alive.
Oh my
and
God.
he's like, oh no.
Oh my God, I have to see this.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's like top-notch stuff. So yeah, heavy metal mixed with Studio Ghibli and maybe a little bit like Fantastic Planet business in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, that sounds really good.
It's really good. Yeah, no, it's good. I don't think I actually gave anything away there. So you said other weird, boring to talk about horror media. Just real quick, touch on that. What do you mean?
I listen to so many horror audiobooks. I mean, I've listened to 109 this year. Yeah, and so I mean, I just burned through them. But I mean, that's all I was talking about. I didn't want to I listened to the latest book by a trans female author named Haley Piper. A Light Most Hateful. That was really good. I'm actually reading a book called Whisperwood by a Transylvanian author named Alex Woodrow, who is from there, but and has a very strong accent, but her English is like flawless, and she wrote the book in English, and I'm assuming she has like an English parent or something, which is why her name is Alex Woodrow. But nice. I'm reading that, and I probably burned through some other books that I can't remember in the last. I mean, it's been 2 weeks. God, I've probably finished 3 or 4. So
that's awesome. So you're listening to audiobooks the whole time you're at work,
pretty much. And I mean, I can get on a good day, I can get 5 or 6 hours in. The good thing is, I just discovered that and you can do this from anywhere, basically. That if you get a library subscription, you got a library card or whatever, like here in the place that we live.
Yeah.
Okay, Houston, whatever.
Damn it, no, John.
No matter where you live, you could do it in Houston, but there's libraries all over the place. Like if you get a library card, now there's all kinds of digital stuff that you can lend, tons of ebooks. And lots of audiobooks, and their horror audiobook selection is really good. The problem is most of it is out on loan, but there's always something to listen to, and I listened to a new book by the guy Clay McLeod Chapman. The book is called what's it called? Anyways, that's really good. Did you ever see The Terror? It was based on the Dan Simmons book. Yeah, that show was really good.
That show kicked ass, yeah. And I love Dan Simmons. Dan Simmons is amazing.
Dan Simmons is awesome. And this guy wrote a book, Bracken McLeod, I think. He has the same, yeah, that's right. It's called Stranded, I believe. And it's kind of the same premise, essentially. Like, these guys get stuck in the ice, and, this is contemporary, and they're trying to get to an oil rig, and they're going to have to hoof it, basically, because they're trapped. And then, of course, all this weird, supernaturally shit starts happening. But it's a really good book. I recommend that one highly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So at work recently, I was approached. They were like, "Hey, for like this thing that we're doing, we need like a list of like famous expeditions." And I was like, "Oh, hell yeah. I have favorite expeditions." And they're like, "Okay, but they need to be ones that were successful." And I was like, "Oh, no, I
Yeah, those are no fun.
What? Who cares?
Don't you want to hear about the DuPont guy that got eaten?
Yeah, exactly.
Or was that the Rockefeller?
Yeah. So it's like, oh man, that's boring. A successful expedition is just colonialism.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Well, all right. So we did good stuff these last 2 weeks. None of it was watching this movie, though. So, check us out 2 weeks from now whenever we've watched another movie. And that movie... So this movie dealt with isolation, and it dealt with friendship. And it dealt with the relationships between men and women, and men and men, and women.
Yeah.
And so I figured let's keep that theme up. You know, Christmas is coming around, so I really wanted to dive in on the theme of friendship. And so for our first December episode, we will be reviewing Perry Blackshear's 2015 mumblecore film, They Look Like People.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah. We'll see. It's been a few years. Maybe it sucks now. I think the last time I watched it was before we started reviewing movies. So.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
So, who knows? Maybe it's terrible. I don't think it's terrible.
It's not terrible. It's better than the Boogens. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. I know that. So we'll get there. So join us in 2 weeks. Until then, have already please had a great Thanksgiving. You know, good old pilgrims taking that food. You do it too.
Go Croatoa. and as always, I'm sorry your turkey has to die.